things I wish prior to my whole fitness journey. So I've been on my fitness journey pretty much my entire adult life. But if you're like me and you were maybe super active in high school or college and you didn't really have to think about fitness until you graduated college and became a working man or working woman. And this is mainly for the women, but of course men can definitely take value away from this as well. Not only for themselves, but just learning about women in general. So some things I really wish I knew 10 years ago was how important protein was. So I'm going to give you about 10 amazing tips that I genuinely wish I knew, because I would have been like 10 times ahead of where I'm at now. And they're very simple things that I could have been implementing this entire time that really could have been a game changer and could have saved me from a lot of heartache. So I truly did not realize how much protein matters. It matters. Now, when you are in your late teens, early 20s, even early 30s, your body, it just holds on to muscle without much, right? Especially in your late teens and in your 20s. Like, you can eat crazy, you can not really work out, and you still kind of have this youthful, just like layer of muscle on your body. When you hit about 30, and this is different for everybody, but in general, when you hit about, your very late 20s, like 28, 29, 30, you just start to see like a tinge of a difference. It's just enough of a difference to be like, okay, I'm not really losing weight like I used to, or I used to be able to eat that and not gain anything, or I used to be able to stay up all night and have a ton of energy and still work out and then look shredded in 2 weeks if I wanted to. But now it's like things are starting to look softer, things are starting to be different. So that's why protein is so important. That's why protein is so important. And it still wasn't clicking for me. It literally just clicked for me probably about 2 years ago. And I am headed for 40. Okay, I'm headed for 40. And I just was like, no, like protein, I get it. Like eat your protein, but to eat 100, because I'm 138 pounds right now. And it's been said that, you need to eat your body weight in grams of protein. So I'm like, I'm supposed to eat 138 grams of protein. Like, are you kidding? So I've attempted, and it's just hard. Plus I'm also vegan. I don't eat meat. I try to stay away from soy. I try to stay away from the Beyond Meat. So it's like I don't have many options. So I wish I would have known this, and I wish I would have taken it more serious, because I actually implemented the protein rule, and then didn't for a while, and then now I'm reaping the repercussions. I'm experiencing the consequences of that. So now I'm having to continue, right? So this journey is wild. So I hired a master trainer about 2 years ago. I'm not with that trainer anymore, but I trained with him for 8 months, and he would always push protein. So I started eating more protein. And I did notice that I did get a little bit bigger, and I didn't really necessarily like that, but I did notice I was building muscle. So I was like, okay, I'm okay with this journey. Then after I stopped training with that trainer, I was like, you know what? Like, I kind of like to be smaller. I like the thinner look. Being thick and voluptuous is bomb, but I still wanted to be like just like a couple sizes smaller in my dress size. So I stopped eating the protein as much. So of course, less calories, right? Less calories that I'm eating. So at first it seemed like I was like benefiting from that. I was like, you know what? Not everybody's the same. Not everybody has to eat. In my mind, I'm like, maybe not everybody has to have that much protein in order to hold muscle. No, just no. Okay. Again, I'm not a trainer. I'm not like a kinesiologist or anything like that, but I've had a lot of experience with fitness and nutrition and working out. And one thing I've never nailed is a protein, again, until 2 years ago. And then I fell back from it because I was like, I don't want to eat that much. And you guys, I literally lost muscle. I started to kind of like get like, just like softer and jiggly in some certain areas. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, I still work out, right? This is the thing I had to just accept. And everybody that is in my same boat, just accept this, and we can all just be one big team together and accept this together. And there's some solutions to this. There, you know, there's hope. But as you continue to spend more years on the planet, other people call it aging. I call it spending more years on the planet. You can't beat nature. Okay? You can't beat nature. So every year, naturally, you're going to lose muscle just from aging. I just really, it wasn't clicking in for me, and I wasn't understanding that. So when I stop eating protein, I'm not like 22 anymore, right? To where it's like, okay, I stopped eating protein, but my body's just going to hold on to the muscle. I'm headed for 40. So when I stopped eating the protein and I stopped doing, because I do more like HIIT cardio and stuff now, because I wanted to like be you know, more lean looking, and not just like kind of like the beefy buffy. No, I wasn't looking buff, but you know, just like the beefier look. I was like, you know, let me just like layer down, let me shred down. But what I should have been doing is still weight training as much as I was before. I still was, but not as much as I was before, and still eating protein. I could have just cut back on my carbs and cut back on the fat. So protein, if you're headed for 40, if you're in your 30s, if you're headed for 40, if you are headed for 50, you want to lose the weight, you're going to have to eat your protein, okay? And I know it doesn't really make sense, but for me, this is how it started to make sense for me. Most of us, not all the time, but some of us want that fit look, right? We still want to have that fit look going into your late 40s, you know, your late 20s, your 50s, your 60s. But if you do not eat protein, our body is aging. So if you do not eat protein, you will not be able to hold and retain and build muscle, period. It just is what it is. I've already experienced it. I've already tested it out. I tried not to believe it. I tried not to accept it, and it just is what it is. So now I'm like, okay, I did it. And just because I got a little thicker, I did really like my muscle gains that I gained. I really, really did. And so now my glutes are flatter, you know, my legs aren't as defined, because again, I wasn't eating the protein. So I wish I just would have accepted this sooner. So again, if you're just hopping on, and also this is live. So if anyone has any questions or wants to ask me anything, you know, when I park, I'll definitely answer, or just put it down in the comments and I'll read it later, and I will definitely do another video or answer. So flat out, with all the professionals, again, I hired a master trainer. You guys can look at my other videos for that. I have a glute training playlist. I have an upper body playlist, upper body, lower body, and then HIIT cardio. Check those videos out. You'll see my trainer in there. I'm on the journey with you guys, and you just have to eat enough protein. So do what you have to do, lock it in, make it a point. If you're 150 pounds, eat 150 grams of protein, okay? Now what happens is people will have a meal that's high protein and high carb and high fat. And so people are like, well, I want to like lose the weight. So if it's calories in versus calories out, then why do I have to eat more protein, right? So you lower your carbs, you lower the fat intake, and you just up the protein. So for example, what I've been doing lately, and it is a boring diet. That's why you see on the internet a lot of like, kind of like, they're getting better. There's so many amazing recipes out there now, but you'll typically see a boring plate, you know, a protein, which is either if someone eats meat, it'll be meat, potatoes, and like broccoli. Because on the plate, the thing that has the highest grams is the protein. So for me, I've been doing lentils and like arugula, black beans, and broccoli. I'll do black beans, maybe have like a piece of toast with some avocado and another type of salad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is really boring. I make it really tasty, and I already was kind of eating like that, but see, for me, what I was doing was, I'm just going to eat a bunch of salads because I love salads. To me, that's not torture. I love salads. I love fruit. I love nuts. So I was eating a lot of like just typical vegan vegetarian, but I was not hitting my protein intake. And nobody would probably, like, maybe some people would notice if they really knew me, but overall I looked pretty much the same. But for me, when I look in the mirror when I don't have any clothes on, I'm like, yeah, I can see my muscle is way less. All that 8 months of work that I put in, I can tell that it diminished. So the good thing is that because I built it, I can actually get it back easier because your body has muscle memory. So just flat out, don't do it to yourself. Don't drop on the protein. If one thing you can do to age gracefully and age healthily and really just set yourself up for success is to have the correct amount of protein, period. Okay, you're not going to be able to beat biology. You're not going to be able to beat how these bodies were made, and they are made to hit a certain peak, and then they do age. That doesn't mean we're done for. That just means we have to implement other things like protein. So for example, if you're 20, you know, a guy or a girl could probably look shredded and jacked, and they're like, maybe they eat once or twice a day. It's because their body is just, it's able to hold on to muscle more during that age. 35 and up, it just is what it is. Even 30 and up, it just is what it is. It's not going to happen, okay? So don't do it to yourself. I did it, and I'm like, now I have to kind of start over. So the good thing is I love working out, and I love like challenging myself and eating healthy and all that. So it's not going to be too much of a difference other than the fact that I do. The thing is, protein is very satiating. So when you eat a lot of protein, you don't, like, think about it. When you're, say if you're at dinner and you just had like a steak dinner, and you're like, the waiter comes around and they're like, okay, we're giving out free steaks. Here's another free steak dinner. Here you go. But only catch is you have to eat it here. You're going to be like, oh my God. Like, maybe if it was dessert, it'd be different because it's sweet, right? But another steak when you're already full. So that's what it is. It's still the same with vegan food too. Beans are very filling. Protein shakes, vegan protein shakes are very filling. So to have to do that, to get 138 grams, I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I'm gonna really experiment the next 90 days and really try to lock in something for myself that is gonna really help me hit that. I've been comfortably hitting like 70 to 80, but I have to step it up. So protein is a must. Number 2 is your sleep. Do not sacrifice your sleep. You will not recover and you will not lose the weight. If you're 35 and up and you're wondering why you cannot lose the weight and you're only getting 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep here, oh, I'll just make it up later. I'll get 6.5 later on in the week. Oh, I got one day out of the week, 8 hours. You can't do that to yourself. Our body's not made to operate off of 3, 4, 5. Now the thing is, because I have people like this in my family where they're like, well, no, but I can. I would argue that you have trained your body to operate like that, but you're not operating optimally. Okay? So if you're wondering why you're bloated, why you're having digestion issues, why you're working out and just like not losing the weight like you used to before, again, when we're younger, when we're in these teenage bodies, these early 20s type of bodies, you can beat them up, you can sleep, you can not get any sleep, you can eat whatever you want. They're just a regenerating machine on, at its optimal level. As we're on the planet longer, it just doesn't work like that. So you can look better than ever. You can arguably look better in your 40s than you did in your 20s, but you have to implement certain things that were taken for granted in your late teens and 20s. You have to make them a priority. So if you want to lose weight, and I used to talk about it a lot, and I'm going to start talking about it again. If you want to lose weight, if you want to feel like you have the energy to put in the time and the work in the gym, or it's going to massively bleed into so many other areas of your life that are going to improve, that you're going to see, okay, what was I doing? So a lot of times, like when I've just listened to people, when I've had conversations with people at the gym or listened to people, on podcasts, a lot of time the problem isn't really the sleep. people don't want to shut down. I actually have someone I'm very close with in my family. They're going to know who I'm talking about if they're listening to this. They say they operate on 5 hours. But every time, if we're having a family night and watching a movie, they fall asleep at 8:30, 8 o'clock. The movie's on, 8 o'clock. But this particular person doesn't go to bed till 1 in the morning or 12 in the morning on a consistent basis. But if you put on a movie at 8, if it's a family night at 8, they're knocked out. It's because we are constantly stimulated, like we're keeping our body stimulated. We basically have a bunch of suns, S-U-N, okay? The sun is like what allows our body to know that it's, daytime, and it turns our body on, and our body starts to do whatever it's going to do for the day. When you still have a sun, aka LED light, aka your blue light from your cell phone or your laptop, your body is like thrown out of whack. It's like, wait, it's supposed to be off by now, but okay, I guess not. So it's like you got the TV on, you got your cell phone, you got the light on. You got to shut down. Shut it down. Whatever you're going to do, look at memes, look at funny jokes, funny podcasts until 1 in the morning, and then you have to wake up at 5 or 6 to go to work. Like, just don't do it to yourself. Okay? So get what I wish I would have known. I sacrificed a lot of sleep when I could afford it, though. When I was in my early 20s, I literally, I would get 3-4 hours of sleep all the time. Like, that was, I was really running on fumes. But again, because I was in my early 20s, it was like my body can handle it. Do not do that in your 30s, 40s. Like, just don't even do it in your 20s. But, I understand that there's a lot on your plate. And if you are a high achiever like me, which most of us are, if you're watching this channel, that we're always trying to strive for better, right? Embodypursuit. We're always pursuing the next best level of ourselves. You're going to lose sleep, right? But it's not cool. Like, all those rappers and people are like, oh yeah, sleep is for suckers and da-da-da-da. They're all those people from the 80s and 90s that would rap about that a lot are in their 50s and 60s, and they're like, whoa. So sleep, you can perform 10 times better when you get the right amount of sleep. Your productivity is more potent and more impactful when you get the right amount of sleep. You can get 3 hours of sleep and then just be slugging through your day, right? Then scientifically proven, once you don't have the right amount of sleep, okay, once you don't have the right amount of sleep, you will then start to crave more. So you can make worse choices for your food intake for the day. So it's just all around, and then you try to work out, and then you're like, why am I not ever seeing, the results? It's just a constant, repetitive problem that it just seems like it never is going to end. Okay, so that's one thing. That's another thing I wish I would have just accepted it earlier on and been like, I need to just make sure my sleep is super important, is a priority. And when I was taking care of my grandmother, sleep was definitely not something I was prioritizing. So that's a whole other video for another time. Something else I wish I would have known on my health and fitness journey 10 years ago is the importance of weight training. If you want to continue to look youthful, be vibrant, okay, I'm headed for 40. The only reason why I think I'm even, people will be like, oh, I thought you were 28, I thought you were 29. The only reason why I think that is the case is because I have really consistently been working out my entire 30s. But weight training is a game changer. And what most people don't know, especially for women, this might encourage you to want to make sure to weight train, is when you break down your muscle, your body releases some kind of hormone that produces collagen to build up that muscle again. And not only does your muscle on your leg and on your glute benefit from it, but so does your overall body does. It just produces collagen in the whole body. So sometimes you'll see people and you're like, wow, you look really you're really lean and fit and shredded, and you ask them how old they are and they're 59, but then they look like they're 42. It's because the muscle actually is I am. I appreciate you. I always make sure I'm looking forward, and if I do glance, it's a quick little glance, if someone was next to me in the car. But I appreciate you though. So weight training has really been something that I will never not do, and I wish I would have done in my early 20s, because this is the thing. if I would have been weight training in my 20s and then went into my 30s, I mean, my energy would be even better, my physique would be even better, my just everything would be just even better, right? But because I'm learning now, I'm still happy about it, and I was always working out, but I just wish I would have been doing that earlier, because having to learn all about fitness and muscles and recovery and all that now, it's just like almost like I feel like I'm going to school again, and it's fun, and I love moving my body and I love challenging myself, but this could have already been like a second nature type of habit, right? It could have already been a second nature type of habit if I would have taken weight training seriously. I was definitely part of the group of women that were like, I don't want to be bulky. And because I was a dancer, I was constantly doing technically from dancing. So when I stopped dancing, I didn't realize like, oh, I'm going to have to keep dancing to keep the physique. I just thought it was my whole life. I've never been overweight. So once I started to gain weight, 8 to 10 years ago, when I gained 30 pounds out of nowhere, I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was just always gonna like naturally be fit. No. So when you do your weight training, not only does it help you with looking youthful, but it helps you with your energy, it helps you with your overall nutrition, with your health, and it gives you more mental clarity. Like there's just so many benefits. And the thing is, when I was a caregiver, I got access to seeing a lot of older people. The falls are crazy. If you don't have muscle when you're older, you don't even have a choice. You're gonna fall, because we take for granted all the different, all of our postures that we have, or like if we're gonna if we trip over something, it's like we catch our body really quick. Like we don't even think about it. When you don't have muscle on your body as you age, all that goes away. You can want to catch yourself, but because you don't have the muscle, you're just going to fall. That's why typically you hear about older people falling. So even when people in their 50s and 60s start getting wobbly, you don't want that for yourself. So I just wish I would have understood that you're not going to get bulky. And it's only going to make you look, actually, you start to body recomp and you actually look smaller when you do weight training and building muscle correctly. Okay, so that's one thing I really wish I would have just accepted earlier. Another thing I wish I would have accepted earlier is that sugar is, you can't beat sugar. Like you're just not going to. You can think you have a sugar tooth or a sweet tooth, like I've always used to claim before, and still kind of will loosely say that. You don't. You have an addiction. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're like, but I gotta have my sweet potato, but I gotta have my ice cream at the end of the night, but I gotta have my Snicker bar, and it's 5, 6, 7 days a week, you have a sugar addiction. It just is what it is. So I would have saved myself a lot of skin issues, a lot of belly fat issues, a lot of fat in other places that I didn't necessarily want, if I would have just accepted that I have to get in front of my sugar intake immediately. And again, because I was eating under calories, I was under eating for a time being. I was like, oh, I can eat a donut, it's fine, because I'm just gonna skip a meal tomorrow. But I was getting no nutrition. So so in my early 30s, I wasn't doing weight training. I would do a lot of HIIT cardio. I've always been active, but I wasn't doing a lot of weight training. A little bit, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I was eating a lot of sugar. Then I went vegan. So it was just like, aesthetically on the outside, I looked small and I liked how I looked. But if I really look back, I was really like always wanting to take naps. I didn't have a ton of energy. I lived off of coffee. And when you are constantly eating sugar all the time, every week, and I would binge too. I would have like 4 donuts in one sitting and then be like, okay, it's fine. I'm just going to like not eat for the next 2 weeks. Like I'm just going to eat like just a very little bit. And then I'd binge again. And then it was just this weird, very unhealthy cycle of eating. But because on the outside, I felt like I liked how I looked, it was fine. But I still had like I still had that, in some areas, I still had the skinny fat look. And like my goal now is to just be really, really healthy and really, really lean. And when I see women in their late 40s and 50s that are shredded, I'm like, I gotta just bite the bullet and just be like, it is what it is. I have to eat enough. I have to eat enough. I have to eat protein. I have to get my sleep, and I gotta put down the sugar. So the last 3 years has really been a journey on the sugar journey. This year is probably the best year I've ever done on the sugar. I really have like figured out what works for me to not, you know, be pressured to. I don't even think I haven't had one donut this year. You can have donuts and you can have cookies. But for me, this is an individual thing for Ciana. I just was like, I really have to get in front of, like, if I want certain results, like, if I want to take myself to the next level, because I've been hovering at this 138, you know, 2-pack at the top, you know, sort of like fit arms. Like, I've been kind of hovering at this type of body for like my entire 30s, and I'm like, you know what, I really do want to really take myself up to the next level. So it's the weight training, I just have to continue to do that, but it's the nutrition. So if you're like me and you love, you know, you love your sugar but you want results, you're not going to get them if you have consistent sugar. You're just not. It is what it is. Accept it. I went through it. Yes, you can maybe figure out little cheats here and there, but it will catch up to you later, and I'm learning that. I did a lot of the cheating, the binging, and then not eating barely anything for 2 weeks, and then the binging and not eating anything for 2 weeks, and it worked for me, I thought, because aesthetically. But now in my later 30s, I'm now having to undo that, what I did in my early 30s. So, which I didn't have like a good nutrition system, which is weird because I thought I did. I was like, oh, well, I'm eating salads, I'm having avocado, I'm having fruit, but I was severely under eating. So because I'm like, okay, well, I'll have 4 donuts, but then I'll only eat like 1,000 calories for the next 2 weeks. Very unhealthy, very, very unhealthy. So I actually got to my destination quicker than I thought I was going to get to it. So I will continue and do a part 2 on this, but let me know what else you guys, what you guys have been doing. Make sure to subscribe to not only my channel, but make sure to get on my email list. I would love for you to be on my email list, because everyone that I've been getting to know on here, I don't want it to just be on YouTube. I want to be able to have your email in case anything ever happens to these platforms, right? So if you go to my community tab, you'll see, just go to the community tab and you'll see that I always post, or down in the description, you can just subscribe. I will be doing another giveaway. I gave away a treadmill. I gave away a juicer. I gave away a really cool travel bag. I'm going to be giving away more. I love giving away stuff. It's super fun. So definitely just be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be posting that on my community tab. And again, let me know what else you guys want to know about. I'm going to get back into doing my fitness and nutrition videos and just, you know, dive in deep with you guys. I love it. But yeah, those are about 4 things, but I do have like several. I thought I was going to do 10 in this video, but 4 things that I wish I would have knew sooner on my fitness journey. I'm going to continue to do a part 2, and let me know what you guys, just let me know what you guys are up to. Especially some of my regulars that have been on here with me for a while. How have you been? What's going on? How's your summer going? How's your fitness going this summer? How's your mental health? All that. So let me know down in the comments, and catch you on the next one. Bye.